Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be back with COMPTEL. I appreciate that kind introduction, and I thank you all for inviting me back to COMPTEL. I remember I was here back in the old days as a commissioner, and always a pleasure. Now, one big change that came out of this administration that I remember calling for in the last, you probably got sick of hearing about it, but I said we need a national broadband plan. And here we are talking about the importance of broadband deployment, and we're about to put in place a national broadband plan. Competition and innovation are really the twin engines of our economy, and your industry understands that as well as any. The significance of creating choices, the importance of thinking about another way of doing things. And if you don't have this kind of bubbling up of ideas, what we're seeing here at this conference with all the meetings that are going on, figure out how we're going to make this business really sail in the future, we wouldn't reach our full potential in terms of our telecommunications systems. I think the FCC understands that, the chairman understands that, the staff understand that. It's a really great era at the FCC, and I'm glad I'm off at RUS because I can do that knowing that the FCC is in such good hands and they're doing such an excellent job. Now, I've been given this job of giving out $2.5 billion in broadband stimulus to get broadband to the hardest to reach parts of the country. And the great thing about the rural utility service, as I mentioned, we're primarily really a bank where we are specialists in loan finance. So not only are we giving out grants, but we're also funding loans. So we can leverage that $2.5 billion to go $3 to $4 billion in total program level. And we're advancing the ball forward every day. We've been giving this huge opportunity in the Recovery Act to make good on what we've been talking about for these last years. Now we can finally do it. We have the resources to do what I've been talking about for so long. It's just a wonderful opportunity. It's an historic opportunity. And I'm an historian by training, as you heard from Joe. And a lot of people appropriately compare the stimulus funding now to the New Deal actions taken in the 30s to stimulate the economy back then, the first Keynesian effort we ever saw. Now, in our case at RUS, it's particularly appropriate since our agency grew out of the New Deal, the Rural Electrification Administration, which, of course, back then spearheaded electrification to rural regions of the country. And now we're charged with doing the same thing for broadband. And broadband offers probably the greatest potential to advance our social and economic welfare since the rise of electricity. It's that transformational. It's that critical that everybody have it. It'll make that much more difference, not just on the farm, but in rural small businesses and the day-to-day lives of people in rural America, just as electrification did. That's why I'm here to encourage you in particular, in the strongest terms I can, to participate in this next round of funding. And I certainly believe, as the president does, that getting this going, rural broadband deployment is a key to jumpstart the rural economy. As indicated by this huge allocation of resources in the Recovery Act, we really see broadband as a central means by which we can build a stronger, not only rural economy, but national economy. The network is only as good as its weakest point. We have to be interconnected in every part of this country for us to reach our full economic potential. And right now, we can generate urgently needed jobs by building out these networks. But in the long term, these networks will form the pathways for future economic growth. It'll help us develop an adaptive, educated workforce, better health care, better education, better cultural opportunities, and really a better quality of life. Our U.S. last mile projects will directly connect to homes and businesses, including critical community facilities like libraries and hospitals, healthcare institutions, educational institutions, public safety. And when it comes to middle mile projects, we're going to focus solely on those applications coming from current RUS borrowers and grantees, and NTIA will handle the rest. And we've modified our standards for eligible service areas. So any rural area of which at least 50% of the premises lack access to broadband at 5 megabits per second combined upstream and downstream can be considered eligible. I think 5 megabits is a good place to start. You know, it could be four down and 1 up. That is what you really need these days, I think, for having an effective broadband connection that you can do so many of the important things like video teleconferencing and so many other applications that we think are important for businesses, for rural economic development. So we're, rather than using the underserved definition that we did last time, expanding it to this new and broader way of looking at what it takes for rural economic development. And that's where you come in, because you know how to build these high bandwidth networks. You know how to get good capacity out to rural areas. So I'm hoping we've built in the kind of flexibility that will be attractive to you and others to attract high caliber projects and to target our funds where they're most needed. It's great to be able to share with you what we're doing, and I hope you're able to participate with us, and some of you will get involved, and even if you don't, you'll be able to benefit from some of these new networks that we're going to create. It's great to be back with you all. We look forward to really partnering with you to get broadband out to every corner of this nation, and I just wanted to take this time to thank you for all that you do for your communities, to thank you for all that you do for competition, which I believe in so deeply. And thank you for all you do for innovation, which is what's driving this economy. And, of course, to thank you for all the help and support that you've given me over the years in this position and my previous ones. It's great to be back with you here at COMPTEL.